Hey everybody, it's Justin with Needly Detailing, and today I'm going to be doing a review and unboxing of the new MJJC Foam Cannon S version 3.0. This was sent to me by MJJC. Full disclosure, it was sent to me free of charge. They are not paying for this video. They're not sponsoring it, so you're going to get my real opinion. Even if they were sponsoring it, I won't do a review without giving you my honest opinion. That's the way it's going to go. The big question to me is this thing really going to be good enough to replace my go-to foam cannon, which I'm going to reveal at the end of the video, so you're going to want to stick around for that. First things first, let's go ahead and unbox this thing, and maybe I'll start by saying the packaging is very nice. Well designed, the cardboard is very sturdy, it's just a very stable and well designed packaging. So the packaging is really good. Let's go ahead and see what we have in the box. And I'll go ahead and bring it up close. Hopefully you can see this. So it comes with operating instructions. Looks like on the back side here, they're trying to promote their new short spray gun. Haven't tried that, and if I do, of course, I'll do a review on it. There we go. There's some foam for protection. The next thing, let's see here. All right, cool. So we have a weighted tube. So this would be the feeder tube that goes onto your foam cannon, and it's weighted on the bottom. So what happens is, because it's weighted down and this is flexible enough, I haven't opened it yet, but based on what I'm saying, it's going to be flexible enough. When you move the foam cannon around, the ball will follow, which means that you're always going to be within the fluid that's within your foam cannon. Very important. Well, I say it's very important. To me, it's a great thing. Yeah, I like what they did there. The next thing that I'm seeing is there's an orifice, and I believe it says, yeah, it says right here. Hopefully we can see this. It is a 1.1 millimeter orifice. So depending on the pressure and the water output from your pressure washer, you're going to want to use a smaller orifice if you have lower pressure, and you're going to want to use the larger one if you have higher pressure. I'm going to go ahead and probably put this one in to start with. The pressure washer that I use, it's electric. It's, I think, 1800 PSI. And to be honest with you, I don't think it even reaches that. Regardless, based on my past experience, I've used the smaller orifice. If I have an issue with it, then I'm going to go ahead and I'll switch it back out with the one that's already connected to the foam cannon top. So orifice and feed tube. Looks like we have, doesn't look like we have, we definitely have. Let's call it the top piece. This feels absolutely sturdy. It feels very well made. It doesn't feel loose. It's very heavy, so it looks like they use solid brass on this and drilled and added pieces and parts to it. Feels very well built. I guess long term, we'll see how it goes. Maybe looking at this, it has adjustments for direction. If you use the blue here, you can turn the direction of the nozzle. So you can have a fan this way or this way. The second thing is you can adjust the fan. So in other words, the angle that the foam is going to come out using this white piece right here. So if I turn this, you can see that it opens and closes, which causes a narrower or wider foam output. And then on top, you have your product quantity adjustment knob up here. So in other words, how much of what's in the foam cannon itself is going to come through. So you can turn it all the way down, or you can turn it all the way up, whatever you want to do. Typically, I run it wide open. Wait, and for some reason, it just keeps going out. Okay. So there's quite a distance between turn-wise compared to what I'm used to. The least amount of product and the most amount of product that you could use. So I would say just this piece alone seems very well engineered, very solid. I mean, there's nothing about it to me that feels cheap. So I would say that's a bonus. All right, so we have an adapter. This will connect to this. That way you can hook it up to your quick disconnects on your pressure washer hose or your pressure washer wand. All right, so we have the bottle, I guess we'll call it the reservoir, or call it what you will. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, so I mean, it looks good. Obviously being clear like it is in my opinion, a very good thing. I like being able to see what's in the bottle and how much, and a lot of them, they're translucent, but they're not fully transparent. So that being the case, you can't see if there's any kind of dirt or junk maybe in the bottom building up. Not that there should be, but if there was, you wouldn't be able to see it. So yeah, I think that's a pretty nice thing here. Packaging is nice. They give you some instructions, lots of pieces and parts. By the way, this would appear to be stainless steel. Here, go ahead and take it out of here. It would appear that this is stainless steel. This is solid brass, and you can see on the back side where they have some other pieces to it, but this also feels as sturdy as the rest of the unit, the head unit or the sprayer nozzle, you could say. I'll go ahead and see if I can assemble this. Go ahead and open this up. So starting with the tube, go ahead and pull this out. And yeah, it's super flexible, like incredibly flexible. All you need to do to hook this thing up is literally push it over the barb here. If you kind of keep pushing on it, it will eventually seat on kind of the back side here. So it'll fully seat to the bottom where the brass is. So as you can see, if you're shooting up like this or like this, the ball is going to stay wherever the water is. So the direction of the bottle, this will follow. Assembling that was easy. Let's see what happens when we put this on here. Or maybe I put it on there. They have a unique design. I haven't assembled this thing, so you guys are seeing it as I'm seeing it. It looks like it has a, maybe let's call it a single thread, or I don't know. And it looks like it locks down at the bottom. So let's see what happens here. Also, maybe I should throw this in there. There's 2 seals right here. So hopefully you can see this. 2 seals right up at the lip. So I'm assuming that those are going to seal off against the inside ring. All right, so let's see how this thing goes together. Oh yeah, simple. Yeah, so even this, so you can hear that jingling around in there, but the feel of this is just absolutely sturdy. So to me, that's a really good sign. I've used some pretty junky stuff. So yeah, it feels really good. Looks good. Let's take a look at the base. Let's see if the base is wide enough to not want to tip over. So without the piece on the end that's going to attach to the pressure washer, it isn't so, let's call it stable, which is one thing I kind of like in some of the other foam cannons that I've used. Let's see if this makes any difference. So all I'm doing is, so there's a thread on this. Yeah, I'm just screwing it on here. I will say it's pretty. No question about it. It's definitely pretty. So if we're going for looks, I would say this one's right up there. As far as being stable, yeah, I've seen better and I've seen worse. Is that a deal breaker? Not necessarily. So I want to use it. I want to try it. I'm going to use it for some time, but for this video, I'm going to go ahead, try it out, see what I think, see if it really creates this great foam or anything else. Quick disclaimer. When I do a pre-wash, I actually use pre-wash chemicals. When I do a wash, I use, of course, not pre-wash chemicals. I'm using a pH neutral kind of chemical. The pre-wash stuff is a higher pH. That being said, I do pre-wash using a chemical that's higher in pH. So it's pushing the alkaline. And then when I go for the contact wash, because it's hot in Texas, I like to foam the car down real heavy. That way I've got a lot of foam that would have to, let's say, evaporate from the heat before it dries onto the surface. To me, there's kind of a balancing point there. If you're doing it outside and it's 105 or 108 degrees outside, to me, I've found that the longer lasting the foam is that I'm using when I do my contact wash, the better. And I think that just makes complete sense that you want it to stay wet as long as possible. You can go around the entire vehicle and wash it without it drying onto the surface, even better. So I would say this thing, to be honest, I'm pretty darn excited. I'll be doing a PIR test. So for the Bilt Hammer products that I use, they recommend a PIR. And so I'll do a PIR test on this to see how much product I need to be in there to be within the PIR range that I use in my current foam cannon. I think that's it for this portion of it. Oh yeah, see, they even have MJJC engraved in here. Pretty cool. Pretty nice. One more thing. So I said that I was going to change the orifice. So to do that, all you need to do, I'm sure it's on the other side, but we're going to try this side anyways. I was wrong. It's on this side. So to change out the orifice, they made it nice and simple. This is very similar to other foam cannons. It just takes a flathead or a slotted screwdriver to get it out. I'm just going to unscrew it. Hopefully you can see that. It just falls right out. You can tell which one's bigger. So I believe this one is supposed to be a, let's see. The one that was in there was a 1.25 millimeter nozzle. So the bigger the nozzle, the less foam you're gonna get. If you have enough pressure, it's not gonna make much of a difference. If you have kind of lower pressure, it's better to use a smaller orifice. You'll create more foam by doing that. So we just removed the 1.25 millimeter nozzle. We're gonna put in the 1.1. And you can tell the difference looking at them. So without there being a number marked on the orifice itself, or the nozzle, or whatever you want to call this, you can look at it and you can see the difference between the two, and I'll show you. I know I've said this more than once, but the packaging is really, really good. So if you look, you can see the difference in the hole size in the center. And if we flip it over, you should be able to kind of see the same thing. So the smaller one would be the 1.1. The larger one would be the 1.25. We're going to go with the 1.1 because it makes sense for us based on prior experience. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the 1.1 into the end here, give you a good look. So all I'm going to do is drop it in there. And I mean, it couldn't be any more simple. You literally tighten it up. This is important because I've seen this a lot. When you're using a flat tip screwdriver, and for those of you that already know this, this is not going to do anything for you, but those who don't, it's important that you use a blade that's not so small that you get a lot of movement left to right. So you can see there's a little bit of movement there, not much. If I went with a smaller screwdriver, there'd be a lot of movement. And what happens is you'll ruin the flat in there. You'll start displacing material, so the brass will start kind of displacing, and then it becomes very difficult to remove these things. So make sure you use the right size screwdriver. I guess that's the point. All right, so once I get it in there, I'll make sure it's tight enough. Doesn't have to be super tight. So tightened up, now we're ready to roll. Put the cap on. Fitting on, and she's a beaut. If looks mean anything, this thing's fantastic. So next we're going to go outside. I'm going to go ahead and use the MJJC snow foam. They sent me that as well. And there's a video on that if you want to check it out. By the way, I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can get a percentage off of these using the link. By all means, if you're interested in buying one, use the link down below. You get a discount. I get some small portion of that. I don't know how much. I don't expect it to be much of anything, but that's the deal, and it doesn't cost you anything, and you save a few bucks. Moving outside, we're going to fill this up with the MJJC snow foam, and let's see how this thing works. So we are going to use this. I said I was going to use it only with the MJJC foam. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and do the pre-wash. I'm going to add the amount that I typically use right there. Okay. So I'm going to be doing the PIR test a little bit later, but to use the foam cannon and try it out, I'm going to go with what I use for my other concentrations. So fill the rest with water. Let's see how this thing does, which will be very interesting because I don't have a clue. All right, so that's about as simple as it gets right there. Looks pretty, see everything nicely. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it all the way up. And then I'm going to do a spray pattern check. I want to see how it comes out. That's a straight line. If I turn this white thing, it should change it to a fan. And it does. And let's turn this 90 degrees. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Okay, I don't like that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Sweet. So as you can see, moving to whatever direction I go in, oops, as I'm turning and twisting and everything else, it's still picking up the same amount of fluid. Very nice. You can see all the dirt that's coming off of this thing. Yeah, that's pretty dirty. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse. This is what I'm going to be using. MJJC foam. It says to use, it's basically 1 part this to 10 parts water. So I'm going to add that to the bottle and we're going to try it out with their snow foam, see what happens. Not sure if this will pick it up, but hopefully it will. So it has graduations on here as well. So it makes it nice and easy to get your concentration right without having to use separate measuring cups and things. I fill it up to 100 milliliters. It's 1,000 milliliters. And let's see what happens. So I have the 100 milliliters in there. I'll fill the rest up with water. Now we're filled with water. Yeah, so something to pay attention to. When you tighten this on, make sure it's tight enough that this isn't swiveling. All right, let's see what we got. That's nice thick foam. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but this thing is quiet. Quieter than my go-to. Put it that way. That's pretty darn foamy there. Now in regards to the foam cannon. So MJJC's foam cannon, their newest one, worked amazing. Well built. Once I got it kind of dialed in, it worked great. It's nice and quiet, which I didn't expect, but it is. So when you're spraying, there's very little noise coming out of it. Great foam. The big question is, will this replace my go-to? And the answer is, I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and use this a little bit more, and then I will come back around and give an update on this, and let's see if this thing does replace my go-to. I'm pretty sure you can probably figure it out. Has a great bottle. Anyway, thanks for watching. MJJC, excellent job on the foam cannon, excellent job on the soap. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a short-term test at this point, but I would say so far so good. Give it an A, and let's see how it works long-term. So on that note, hope you have a good one, and we will see you on the next one. Oh yeah, and don't forget, I'm going to leave a link in the comment section for you to get, I believe it's 15% off. I get some small portion of that. I don't know exactly how much. Anyway, for people that order through my link, you'll get that amount off. If you do get it, let me know how it works for you. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are as well. So, all right, on that note, have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.